Happy noon. Welcome to Indian Statistical Institute. Today is one of the best day because we start recalling the measurements, the data science. You know when it was started? Professor Vasanta Chandra Mahalanobis in India, he started way back in 1930. Today is his 125th year of birth anniversary. Government of India celebrate as National Statistics Day. We have so many domain specialists here. We have textile engineers, we have automobile engineers, we have software engineers, we have doctors, we have faculty members from different colleges, research faculty, businessmen, MBA specialists. Why all of them are here together today? Everybody wants quality. Everybody wants to take decision. Everybody wants to take decision from data. Today data is not a problem, but it is collected in megabytes computers, but not used for decision making. In the advent of IT technology, in the advent of data methods, this is now becoming a data science for making everybody to take decision. Instead of myself talking as a statistician, I think that the doctors, the engineers, the faculty members, research people, business people who are really spending their time, money and their professional skills, when they use data, it becomes a very effective, excellent decision makers. Statistics by itself may not be useful to the statisticians, but when it is used by domain specialists, it becomes an excellent science. Mahalanobis started way back in 1930. We call him Professor PC. If we all brought together today here, it is because of him. Who doesn't want quality? Remember, Coimbatore was a very small city but industrial city. I remember when I came for a field training, there were dry latrines here. Now e-latrines are there. Textile industries were there only, and pump set manufacturers were there. Some hospitals were there. Now we have one of the smart cities in India. 3,600 small medium manufacturers are there. 4 or 5 corporate MNCs are there, and it is becoming a defense corridor for defense supplies. Those days, Mahalanobis started Statistical Quality Control and Operation Research Unit 63 years back in Coimbatore. You can identify that how important he found Coimbatore as a base for industrial development in those days. The first computer was brought by him. The first computer science course was brought by him. The formal statistical quality control and operation research course was brought by him. Indian planning was brought by him. Higher education was given with the stipend offered by him. And so much that in 1965 he was invited to China for planning Chinese economy. Some of the studies are really today in multidimensional, multivariate data, the D-square. Mahalanobis D-square method is now used for fraud detections, identification of diseases. Risk evaluation. Doctors are going to speak risk evaluation. Orthogonal array technique for product development. The engineers are going to speak on product development. Textile new product development when the industry is facing recession, new product development. In the case of jute with polo polyester reinforced, what is the strength? New product development. Similarly in software, how the defects are before the production is assessed. Six Sigma methods. Remember that those days without computer that he was able to find. And we have several speakers. I know that 440 surgeons have been taken by doctor here, and he is not able to attend his own functions at his home, and he has got some 60 patients waiting, but he came forward to here to speak how data decided prognostication of amputation risk. He came all the way, Dr. Ramesh Perumal. And we have Edison, who had trained 25,000 engineers at a time. Inviting cognizant specialists here, I invited him to speak on leadership and commitment. And chronically kidney disease patients. You know, you have to observe the patients for 24 hours. Every hour you have to take the sample of blood, urine, and then estimate what would happen to the patient. Various type of patients are there. The third one, the accidents. In the world our accidents are well known. Road accidents. The doctors are saving the life. You know, in Coimbatore 350 FIRs are registered every month. I should say 1,30,000 deaths and 5 lakh injuries. FIRs are identified with classifications. Vehicle damage only, simple injury with hospitalization. Then the fourth one, grievous injury. Then you have fatalities. You know, in India, about 85,000 were killed, 1,30,000 deaths, 5 lakh injuries. Is it due to increased vehicles? Yes, the vehicles are increased. Can we say that because of heavy vehicles only death in road accidents happens? It is analytics, data mining, which is more important for decision makers. This data was collected from the IG office, thanks to the effort taken by our head office to get this data. And I should say that vehicles in India is about 6 crores. And in USA is about 25 crores. We know the accident and death, it is half of India. 4 times the vehicle, but accident and death rate is half of India. You know the speed, minimum 100 km. So is it due to vehicle? Is it due to road type? Is it due to type of vehicle? Or number of vehicles? This was analyzed. You know, in Coimbatore, Annur is one of the place. Somanur is one of the death trap. Karamadai is another death trap. You know which vehicle is more risky? Is going by tempo travel. It is direct to health. And the incidence of accidents happening, the death that is causing, the World Health Organization says it is about 1 to 3% of gross domestic product. This prognostication of this type of risk of grievous injury, the doctors have to decide. One, to predict what will happen to the patient, whether to remove the leg or whether to salvage the leg. This is the two decisions. Mahalanobis discriminant analysis made a way out. 225 patients for 2 years this doctor were observing and trying to find out where the risk is. Similarly, no vehicle is without spring, and spring manufacturer in Coimbatore, the accessory manufacturer in automobiles, is well known. Coimbatore is known for motor pumps and automobile components manufacturer and garment industry manufacturers. And you will find that this particular spring, every vehicle will have. And there was a challenge in manufacturing springs. It was like a very small, very frail and fragile, like a product Kambi. You have 22 brands, 27 specifications. It is a feeler gauge for the fuel indicators. This is to be produced. Bosch has given the order to a micro, small, medium antenna, and it was a challenge whether it can be produced. You will be wondering whether statistics can help. Statistics at large as a number is different. Statistical techniques for product development is different. Mahalanobis developed, C.R. Rao developed orthogonal array techniques. Relationship analysis was done between specifications. We found that one particular specification can decide the entire quality of the spring. And that was studied by this engineer here, Mr. Kumaresan. He is here. The managing director came and it was studied. We found one specification that is very critical and it was returned to the Bosch, and Bosch gave the certificate that this specification we are not aware that you have found it. Thus, statistics is helping in making decision on product development. It will be a surprise whether product development can be done using statistical techniques. It will be a surprise. Somebody was asking what you can do with the doctors when doctors. It is not that doctors are decision makers. They have a lot of data. Every individual data is collected and given to them, and it was attended on case-to-case basis, one-to-one basis. But trying to finding out the entire pattern of the disease, pattern of the diagnosis, gives additional information, insight, decision making, and then the recognition, methodology, sample size, so that you are able to decide clearly. And textile engineers. Textile engineers starts from the product itself is number, 20s count, 30s count, 40s count, 60s count, and environmental hazards. They want zero liquid discharge, 24/7. When the effluent treatment plant is running, you have to tell when the risk is more for the effluent treatment plant. The ARIMA regression model, the prediction model, was helping that it will be predicted from the first and fourth hour that when it will go higher TDS, so that they can take preventive measures. Same thing with CKD patients. It was done with a general linear regression model which helped doctor. We have a doctor who had just come out of ICU, though he joined late, and he was trying. Nobody have studied spot hour estimate, taking first hour, second hour, third hour, then telling the 24-hour performance of a chronically deceased patients of kidney. And this he was collecting for about 58 patients, 32 variables. Every hour, which variable will be used to predict 24-hour sodium, creatinine and chloride. We collected that first hour sodium by creatinine ratio will be able to predict 24-hour samples from generalized linear model. And the doctor was surprised that this could become a good paper in the international journal. Same thing with the decision making of amputations of legs for the accident victims. Vesicle analysis. It was done by another doctor from orthopedician. In automobiles, in business there are further risks return on investments, whether the investment will be returned. For that operation research model, turnaround time for queuing theory model. These have been regularly happening in ISI Coimbatore. I tell you, every weekend, not less than 12 to 15 engineers, 3-4 medical science people, 2-3 faculty members comes to ISI Coimbatore on holidays, sacrificing their weekdays and discuss their data. One of the JCP manufacturer, competitive to JCP, remember, Coimbatore, you put a tank, they will assemble it and give it. Such a reverse engineering. The engineers from Bull have come. Rubber manufacturers have come. Rubber is a very brittle. The production planning control of CPK, capability index, is a very difficult task because it is elastic. And making the measurement system analysis there is a challenge. Yes, and I wish that all of you join together and speak yourself how before analyzing the data, after analyzing the data, you got insight. We say, sample it, explore the outlier, model the data, model the Y on X prediction models, modify any outliers are there, then you have evaluation. So sampling, exploring, modifying, modeling, evaluation. SEMMA, SEMMA, SEMMA model. If somebody is using this data and trying to make this SEMMA model, it is a data mining approach. In those days, when there were no computer, I could recall how Dr. C.R. Rao worked on RMM table per billion. We are talking ppm. He was working on per billion. And the way certain limits were worked out, reference limits were worked out for control charts, is something that should be mentioned. How the efforts were taken in those days, spending time when basic communities were questioned. Basic communities, they were not adequate houses, they were not adequate cloth, they were not adequate food. At that time, the science was developed. Mahalanobis brought the entire specialists from abroad. Schubert came to India on his request. Today, you know, a lot of issues are there in encroachment and taking over the land. Mahalanobis donated 300 acres of land to Government of India. He started small group and he wanted statistics. He is not a statistician, he is a physicist. He started with this. And he chose Professor C.R. Rao, and C.R. Rao chose Dr. Tabuchi. So happened that I had an opportunity to be taught from this great institute. I will not be here had they not given 250 rupees monthly stipend in Burmese. Even today, nobody goes to Calcutta for reading. In 1975, from Chennai by Howrah Mail going is a task. This is what I was telling this morning to the 200 officials of state government economics and statistics department. So on this auspicious occasion, I welcome you all and request every very important people to come forward and share their knowledge along with us. And this will be a fitting respects to our founder of ISI, father of statistics. The government in a fitting way recognized the services to the nation. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I invite others to speak. Thank you.
13 doctors in specialty. So we have all subspecialties. The orthopedic itself, we have got trauma, joint replacement, sports medicine, spinal cord injuries, and also the children's orthopedics. And the plastic surgery department deals all sorts of cosmetic procedures up to the various disorders they treat. So we have interested in open fractures. Ganga Hospital is known for treating accidents and emergencies. It is both Dr. Rajagopal and Dr. Rajagopal's elder brother. Both of them formed a complete trauma care. When a patient comes with an injured hand, so both the persons they started giving the trauma care of combined ortho and plastic care. So as you all see the open fractures which come with the mangled fractures, it is more common in countries like India where the motor vehicle accidents are very high. Even every 5 minutes, currently now one patient is dying in road traffic accident and 10 people are getting a big disablement. Disablement in the sense the fractures may not heal well, the functional restoration may not be good. So the earlier part of it is acceptable, but in the recent era, it needs a functional restoration. Patient has to go back to his original work. So the patient is doing a manual labor work, he has to go to his manual labor work after a point of a treatment. So that's what we are aiming, and scientific advance keeps moving. When a patient comes with this sort of injuries with a crushed leg, where the skin is gone, muscle is gone, bones are destroyed, if a good successful treatment was given, he can end up with a near normal function, he can go back to his activity. When a patient who comes with a similar type of injuries, when the treatment is not going in a proper direction, when it is not treated in time with the proper techniques, it can end up in an amputation, like loss of limb. So this can be done at time of injury or following a multiple treatment. This treatment cannot go on to the expectation, it can end up in an amputation. So there is a big dilemma between what treatment to adopt for a particular injury and what is the outcome. That's what we have analyzed. So in our experience, the open fractures, mainly what we use is statistical data for open fractures. Some of them are given the best result, and few of them have got a better result, and some of them had a worst possibility of an amputation. So when decision making comes, when an open fracture comes, how the statistics will be? First we see the situation when a patient comes with a massive open injury. So what it is, whether this limb can go on for a salvage or this limb go on for an amputation, it has got many parts. When most developed countries, the equipments are available, and still in developing countries we need lot of equipments, expertise, and lot of things has to be gone to it. So there are chances of errors and chances of misjudgments are high. And also in our part of the team, the financial problems are very high. When you tell a patient comes with 5 lakhs for the treatment, means most of them may not be affordable. So the cost has to be made to be affordable, and the treatment options has to be made affordable. When the patient who has got a high amount of injury, if we are not able to spend a lot of time, sometimes we can go ahead with a little bit of quickening procedures. Both the teams can combine and work on a functional outcome the better way. So there are how to analyze all these injuries means. When an open injury comes, there are a lot of classifications that have been given in the Western world.
When you are in lower levels, only the body is engaged. Just think, when you have a CCTV camera and Monday morning when somebody is coming into office, you can easily tell whether a person is coming full of enjoyment or dragging the body like a Naukri advertisements. I think there is an advertisement on Naukri which says drags you out of the body and takes you to office. And he says apply for a better job. You know, ultimately leadership is not only to get spirit out of what you are doing, it is also to get the spirit out of others. Okay? Are we clear? Are we enjoying so far? Very good. Now, that means there must be clearly some steps for leadership, which some leaders are good at, some leaders are not good at. So, I am going to give you only the steps. But it is floor 1 to floor 4. That means if I have to go to 4th floor, I have to go for first floor. That is 20% at least. Even the banks don't give. Right? Okay. So let's see the reality check. If you look at it, this is what has happened. 6 out of 10 staff miserable. Right? And 70% of people are not engaged at all. Commitment is very low. This is current reality. This is from research. It is not just that we are getting these figures because statistics has given these kind of data. New generation, what do they feel? They feel they are smarter than us. Isn't it? Just think, we go to a class, they feel they are very smart. Our children feel they are very smart. Right? Okay. How do we engage with intelligent minds? Because it is a fact that they are far more intelligent than all of us. But how do we manage? Are we able to get the best out of people? The complaint is on leadership, which I always talk about, right? You're not there at home, people talk about your leadership. Right? You're not there in the department today, people are talking about your leadership. And they find fault. And when you get elevated, again this is the challenge that we keep on facing. Okay, dominant model, right? Or the carrot and stick, or the master apprentice. All this we have heard, right? We say, okay, you are an apprentice, you are a junior, now listen to what is being said. Learn that how you should survive in an organization. What else? Now the things are changing. You just see, it's automated, right? It's systematized. Everything is going digital and social media is there. So we are living in a world where our leadership skill also needs to change. We cannot be like our parents.
Into areas where the epidemics are prevalent. For example, dengue is very much prominent in Coimbatore and Chennai and some areas. It's not constantly there and throughout uniform in all areas. And he has all the power to allocate the healthcare professional in whichever areas he wants. So he has to just put all these people and create places. Like for dengue management, you don't need a lot of infrastructures. They can actually build temporary infrastructures, allocate personnel, and that way there is no need for any confusion for any of the citizens. People who pay tax, people who don't pay tax directly, but then end up paying it directly, can all be taken care of without any confusion. If only the health minister, all the people who are assisting the health minister are only showing this cyclical phenomenon, and easily it can be done. Another problem patients undergo is every hospital. One of the boon of Coimbatore people is they can just close their eye, walk to any hospitals, and they can be guaranteed reasonably good care. So that's how the gifted people of Coimbatore are. In fact, according to me, any hospital, major hospitals, you just close your eyes and go. You don't really have to worry about, am I going to the right hospital, am I going to the right doctor. So most hospitals in Coimbatore give a reasonably good care. But then unfortunately, like our patients, nephrology patients do migrate to a lot of hospitals, they get second opinions because some of them have end-stage kidney failure. Where the answer, for example, is you have to do transplant or you have to do lifelong dialysis. That's not something you're happy people to listen to, so they go for second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, so all that sort of thing. But unfortunately, none of the records are linked amongst hospitals. It may take many decades for that to happen, but then for the government of Tamil Nadu or government of India, it's just one signature. All hospital data. Like Open My Show, And if you know the story behind Gopal show, it will be very interesting. So they came a decade earlier, and then they found out the systems in the country is not equipped. The founders came from US. They want to do something like what the US people did. They came, they started.
It's nothing but, so now the competition starts so regarding quality and medium activities, it's nothing but statistics. So it is small to brief about Venkateshwara's strengths and skills. So we are having 3 units. The first unit is established in the year 1993. The second unit is established in 2010 in same Coimbatore. The third unit is established in 2017 at Chennai, Koragadam. In each and every vehicle, sir rightly told, all are using 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers. Definitely Venkateshwara Springs is there in your vehicle. So last week on meeting, we have discussed it. Even we are number 1 in Tamil Nadu for making large volume of springs. We are making springs in all verticals, say torsion springs, compression springs, and special wire forms and BY Prof. So that Viper arm rod project that took from Bosch, it is a very complicated part. Seems to be a very flimsy and slim component, but making the component is very difficult. So Bosch has identified Venkateshwara for making this part. So many people knows that Bosch is the second largest automotive supplier in the world. So getting award from Bosch is very, very, very important one, and also it is a very prestigious one. So a component called Viper arm rod. It is a fuel indicator. So in the vehicle, this component is to be assembled with 2 year. Bosch is having around 400 suppliers. So we got first prize. They are 17-18, financial year 17-18. Apart from that, so these 2 awards we got last year and this year. Financial year 16-17 and 17-18.
I'm just giving a glance of some graphical tools. Okay, because when I got a call from professor, I was in a dilemma because graphical visualization in art is a version. Okay, not only the multivariate techniques or comparison techniques what we have, visualizing the data is a big deal. But I picked here and there, started with 2D animations, then 3D, then different types of presenting the data. I will try to show you them here with a real life data sets, what I have experienced with medical institutions and some management institutions, because most of the time I work with medical institutions like JIPMER and Pondicherry Institute of Medical Sciences there. So here I start with, but for this, to do this, internet connectivity is must. Okay? Now I do this, already I have installed that package. And then I use a function called scatterplot 3D.
Floral decorations, the stage itself is such a huge, it is a very momentous occasion for them. And I am thankful to Professor Rajagopal to bring a small aura of that to Coimbatore here. And also it was more like a awareness and a capsule that what statistics could do with all the wit and humor thrown in by Professor Rajagopal now and then. I think it was a very memorable occasion, and I would also like to extend my
15 combinations we get from the Boxen-Minton model based on the 2-factor model, and the thickness is a dependent variable. So based on the hard compression molding process, we change the thickness as per our requirement. So these are the composites what we developed, sandy structure. So So this is the instrument heat flow meter. Based on this instrument, we check the thermal properties of composites for the insulation applications. So these 15 materials what we develop and check the thermal conductivity value, thermal resistance, thermal transmittance and thermal diffusivity value. From the result and discussion, we get the from the inputs of these tested values, we make a RSM graph, response surface method graph. So this is the RSM graph for thermal conductivity value of composites, and this is for thermal resistance, and this is for thermal transmittance, and this is for thermal diffusivity value.